Joining us now on the Deseret First Credit Union hotline, Stadium Sports College Hoops insider Jeff Goodman, who has been a big part of breaking news this morning involving BYU basketball head coach Dave Rose and his projected retirement this afternoon. Jeff, welcome back to BYU Sports Nation. How are you?
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. And, I'd like to say I'm shocked, but I kind of had a pretty good idea last night and was trying to nail it down last night, to be honest, that Dave was going to part ways with the school, and the school was going to part ways with Dave. I don't know how you want to say it. 61 years old. I think it was probably a mutual decision to some extent.
What's your initial reaction, or what was your initial reaction when you found out that, whoa, this is actually happening?
Not that much of a surprise, to be honest. I mean, it was, but it wasn't, because, again, if you look at it, this is 4 straight years of not making the NCAA tournament. At BYU, the expectation is to make the NCAA tournament. And the program, I get that they've won, 19 games, whatever, for the last 4 years. But ultimately, the expectations, and Dave had a big part of that, raising them to the point where they were getting in the NCAA tournament just about every year. And obviously, when they went to the West Coast Conference, things changed a little bit here. A couple of years ago, they really struggled, especially defensively. And then you had a couple of guys leave that really hurt.
It's been a long 14 years of a lot of success. The last few years, as you mentioned, BYU didn't get up to the standard they wanted. But when Dave Rose was hired as an assistant here, BYU had won 1 game the year before. Steve Cleveland's staff for 8 years. Then Dave took over. They get to a Sweet 16. They have the National Player of the Year in Jimmer Fredette. There were some incredible moments with Dave Rose. How would you define the legacy of Dave Rose at BYU?
No, you're right. I mean, listen, I still say when I came out there for both Jimmer, Kawhi matchups, that year was special. I mean, that was awesome. The environment was as good as any I've ever seen in college basketball, and I've been doing this a long time. So, I mean, his legacy is obviously a class guy, did a great job getting the program back, but I think, honestly, I do think now is probably the right time for a change.
Jeff, when you look at Dave Rose and the fact that, it's been 4 years in a row that he didn't make the NCAA tournament, let's fast forward a couple of years. If you look back on his career, what do you think will be the overwhelming reception of Rose in his 14 seasons?
Yeah, I mean, I think it will be bringing in really good players like Jimmer Fredette, getting the program to a high level and keeping it there, especially when they were, in the Mountain West. Again, the beginning of the WCC, they had some success, but, you had the first 4 where you barely got in 15 and then 3 straight NITs. So I think, now it's going to be interesting to see which way they go, right? Which way do they go? There's not a huge list of candidates because obviously, you got to find an active member of the church. So Mark Pope's going to be the name that everybody kind of talks about from Utah Valley, and rightfully so. He's done a good job there. Barrett Peary, a guy who's done a great job, at least in his first year, a year ago at Portland State, did a terrific job. And Alex Jensen, I think, is the third one you're going to have to talk about, the Utah Jazz assistant coach who was an assistant in college as well and played at a high level. And then the fourth name that I was given was Kevin Young, who's in the, he's on Brett Brown's staff with the Sixers. So, I think Mark Pope probably the favorite at this point, but I wouldn't count out Alex Jensen.
Jeff Goodman, Stadium Sports College Hoops insider, with us on BYU Sports Nation. On a day like today where there is breaking news and so many moving parts, what is that like for you as a reporter, and how can people dive into what you are putting out on the interwebs, if you will?
It is, it's a little overwhelming. It's a little overwhelming because I'm trying to keep up on all the job information that happens, the hirings and firings. I'm trying to keep up on the NCAA tournament, and last weekend I covered both Columbia and Jacksonville, so I ping-pong back and forth. I'm home for a couple days before going to Kansas City, and then I'm trying to keep up with transfers. I'm trying to keep up with all the kids that declare early for the NBA draft. So it is never ending this time of year, and really these next, 14 days are tough because I'm on the road a lot, and to get organized on the road is a lot harder than getting organized at home.
Jeff, great to talk to you. We appreciate the time, my friend, and we wish you the best of luck handling all of this business as the Dave Rose situation continues to develop, among other things, and enjoy the NCAA tournament, man. We're all probably rooting for Gonzaga here at BYU at this point.
Yeah, listen, they got a good chance. Certainly, they're one of a handful of teams I think that has a chance to win 4 more games and cut down the nets.
All right,
Thanks
Jeff.
for having me.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
All right, take care.
Jeff
Thanks,
Goodman
guys.
on the Deseret First Credit Union Hotline. Deseret First, your values, your timeline, your financial future. You can follow him at Goodman Hoops. He was the guy that initially hit that national scene saying that Dave Rose is expected to step down today.
And